this is Victor. I'm here with a new video, and this time I want to answer a question that I received: is how to choose the color of your army or the color of the miniature. So how to choose colors on your miniatures. First of all, I have to say that if you are starting, I recommend to follow the official colors. When I start painting, I was following the official colors. I was following the this is recommend to follow. For example, if you do berserkers, follow the red. There are also factions that you don't have too many options. So my first recommendation is go to the book, to the army, and try to see if there is any official color, especially if you are a beginner. I did not follow this rule always, but when I was starting the first time, I tried to do my own color scheme. I saw that was completely bad, and then I decided to follow official colors, no? But then you start realizing on different things on color composition, and these are, well, this is the deviation of the official color is with darker red of the berserkers, but I realized that you can combine, combining green is adding a lot, and combining with the gold. So it's working quite a lot. This is painted quite a while ago. Also the black, then you can use black and white or bone in that case as a neutral colors. So this was my first step. Then I realized that I can classify the colors in different ways. So we have normally the red, let me put here, and then I will show examples. So we have colors like this one, orange, purple. We can go with all these type of colors are bright colors, okay? All these are bright colors, are quite colors that can have a strong presence. Okay, so these are driving colors for me. Colors that you use, yeah, that are quite strong, are quite bright. Yellow is another example, but we can have reds as well. So you have all these are like bright colors. So you have to be careful how you mix them. And there are different ways, and there is a theory of colors. But normally what I try to do is I try to put next to each other. One trick is put one next to each other and see if they combine. So for example, for me these two are, and there is also a lot of personal preference, I will never do combination like this one. But if instead of using this green, I use the darker green, then it's different the aspect. Also you have to balance how much you put of each color, okay? So the first thing is, I try first to look a lot at official paint jobs to see how they look like. And from there I try to start to do. Also I classify my colors, what I call it driving colors, bright colors. Then we have the same, for example, on the greens, we can have different ways to have the green, right? So we can have like a very pale, bright greens. We can have, this is one other example, or you can have some greens that are less saturated than this one. This is more neutral green, this is a very strong, bright green as well, okay? So we have colors that are more neutral, and for me the most neutral of all of them are the grays, black and bone. So these colors, I use them a lot as a supporting colors to support your paint job, because they are very neutral. They combine with any color that you want to add to your miniatures, and it's not mismatching most of the time. So this is what I call them colors that are for me supporting colors, and I will explain this more clearly. And also one color can be one of these. White is in between neutral. I will do it as a neutral color. So these are colors that indeed is the absence of color mainly. Okay, black and white is the two absence of color. So these are all the colors together, or the absence of color, depending how you say. In terms of light, let's put in terms of paint, these all colors together, this is the absence of color. Okay, and then the grays are intermediates between them. So this is why I call neutral colors. Then these grays can have some tint and go to this type of browns. Okay, so this is a point to take into account. So when you start combining colors, try to think what are driving colors, what are strong colors, and what are more support neutral colors. And this is quite important when you try to think about the paint job. because this will give you, or will show the appearance, and will give the character of this will drive the character of the miniature when you are painting. Okay. Now I will show some examples, and I will follow the rationale. As I said, when if we look this color, so here we have really the red is the driving color, okay, and then to have a good contrast, I decided to go with this one color for the different the tabards and different clothes. And of course, there is a lot of this type of possession that I decided to go for more a flesh color. So you hear this, I prefer not to do high contrast. There was another option to go this flesh really pale, or to go with grays, depending how you want to do the flesh. And then, of course, the bone colors and the symbols. For example, this symbol, I decided to go for a saturated yellow, because then it's not mismatching that bad, or it's not super bright and it's not driving too much attention. And I decided to put some details on green, because I was considering that if you want to show the green and the eye visors of the helmet, the green will give a good contrast, because green is contrasting versus red. Okay. So this was one of the thinking. One of the other examples, other way to go, for example, when I was doing the color scheme of my how it's called, Dark Elder. So as you can see, the driving color is black and red. So I have a neutral color that is black. It's like the frame color, is the frame, and then we have the red to spot the different how it's called, these details of the armor. Okay. And then the rest are quite neutral, and I just adding green touches to contrast and to show the different things that this guy is carrying with him. For example, the tube in green, all these things in green. I put one in red just to avoid to overdo with green, but you see again green here. So this helps to have a contrast. And then to be very neutral, I went for these really pale wings to have really a neutral color that is not contrasting too much with the armor, and harmonize more or less. Also, this color here is on the foot, on the feet of this guy. So this is quite a simple one, where you have the red as a driver, you have the black, and then you have just another complementary spot color to the red, and the rest you keep it neutral. You also can do something like that. This is a quite neutral paint job with some reddish tones, but here you can see that everything is around the bronze and terracottas color. So this is another way to do it, and then the way I find here to contrast is to go from quite a brown color to almost white, contrasting with this reddish color. So it's really neutral, and nothing is really popping up too much. But then you can see when you do this, I was realizing that you cannot use greens, you cannot use blues, because if I put here suddenly green, blue, even purple will pop up too much, and the reds I'm using are more like a terracotta red. So because I want to give the impression of being more on the neutral colors, and it's not something that is popping up too much. Even the symbol you can see here, this was done in purpose to go in this terracotta to avoid that this popping up too much from the rest of the miniature. So really here I want to emphasize the helmet, just going with this black and whitish color, but it was a decision to go for natural color. So this is how to make something more neutral. Each time I go to these color combinations, let me show you another one. These are my Grey Knights. And you can see that I went completely for a different color scheme than the official one. Here again, I use a very neutral color, or quite a neutral color for the armor. It's a blue greenish, but this is quite a desaturated blue, because I have a lot of greenish component. So in order to pop up the miniature, the way to show where I want the details, I put yellow and I put red. That is contrasting and is, but it's not overwhelming the miniature with too many colors. Then I can add some white easily, because the white is neutral, but it's what I was meaning. If you do this with quite a brighter blue, for example, if you go for something like that, then the miniature will look too much. The color, it will be, the eye impression is that you have too many colors together. So the way to avoid that you have this impression that you have too many colors together is to desaturate some colors. But you can go also with a lot of colors on one miniature. And here I want to show an example that I was doing with the harlequins. So here we have a lot of tonality. But the way I find to avoid that it's not mismatching is that I for example, I keep a stack to some tones. So as you can see, I have pinks, purples, I have blues, and I have just the yellow as accents. Yellow is very present, it's present just in very spot points, but not too much. And you can see that is the combination, the contrast between the blue and the pink that is driving mainly the colors of the miniature. So if you can see here, is more or less the same principle. So you can see that I use the blue, pink for the diamond pattern. It's purple, and then you have the yellow as a spot color in some points. Okay, so always think the way. It's difficult to explain because I'm not using really the wheel theory, and I'm not using any type of the theories that some other painters are using, and just the way I think, and this was, I will show you the last color scheme that I was designing, and this is the how to call this, the test miniature. So the first thing when I was painting this, I know that I'm going to use green, okay, and because I think a lot about how to decide which colors to use. I know that the skin I was using is green, okay? So I was thinking, okay, if I use green, I need something that is contrasting with the green. Some color that is contrasting with the green. You can have orange, you can have red, you can have blue, for example, some blues, but you cannot, I was saying, you cannot have other greens, okay? But then I was thinking, if I want to use two colors for the uniform, the second color has to be neutral, like, because imagine that I was using red and yellow. So you will have red, yellow, red, yellow, and then you will have on top the green of the skin. Let me put the green here, just as an example. So this is really making your work really difficult to frame. So this is why I decided I remove this from the equation, and then I put something more neutral, and this was the idea. And then you can add contrast by playing with between the black and red. You can use some grays and browns to show the different details. So the other colors were put there as I was painting, as well as the metallics to show some of the details, knife and other things that this guy have. Okay, so always think in that case, as the skin is so dominant, I prefer not to add a third color and keep just with these two colors as the driving colors for the miniature. So always think, if you put too many colors on a miniature, they will look crazy, they will look oversaturated of colors, I will say, and will not do good. Another example, if you have followed my channel, you know that I paint Gen Steeler Cult. Here we have a super bright orange that is based on the Fire Dragon orange, or Fire Dragon bright, okay? It is a combination between this and the tallest layer. And then I have a very purple contrasting, okay? Almost here. So, and I add a third color on this triad that was more a pinkish color. But as you can see, these two are more or less in the same family. It's like, but it's adding contrast, so it's helping me to add contrast on the skin parts, okay? So that way I can show on the head that we have this type of armor plates here. I can show the details here on the arm. So it was the reason to have two purples that are contrasting. But then I realized that I cannot add, or at least I will not add a third color. So what I do with all the armor plates and the other parts, and here is when I decide to go for a neutral color. because this is completely neutral, it's like gray. So this is helping me to not oversaturate the miniature with super bright colors. And then you can put some other colors as a spot, these greens, but never, if you add some other colors, never put too much, just a detail. If it's just a very small detail, will not look, how it's called this, will not do too much, will not look that you have put too much. If I start putting green everywhere, imagine the armor in green, it will be crazy. So the miniature will look too busy in colors. This is why when you start painting the different details, also try to limit your palette. And let me go back to the Eldar that I showed before, because for me it's clearly harlequins can be very busy, but was a way to work. So when I was painting this, okay, as you can see, I avoid greens in purpose, and I avoid oranges and reds. So when I'm painting the different details, I'm thinking, okay, how I can do a good contrast, but I avoid reds, greens, and reds, and because I want to keep this pinkish bluish color, then with this deep purple, that this deep purple is almost neutral because it's black with highlight of purple, and on top this purple is matching very well, is in between the pink and the blue. Okay, so this way is not overlooked, it's not too busy. And then the yellow is the one that is making the pop up. But if you put the yellow in different spots, then it's not just catching the eye in one point, because with the yellow in this case is combining quite well with the white, because you have two bright points. Okay, and you also have the shoulder pad, so it's helping you to frame, and the rest of the miniature is also quite bright. So this way is also good to have bright on the bottom. And see here there is another example where we have this from the same squad. So you can put yellow, as you can see, no oranges, no reds. I try to limit my palette, I try to limit my colors to the ones I decide to drive. Okay, so and this is just, most of these things it's like intuitive that I had from experience, and some yeah, it's more like knowledge that I have over experience. This is one of the things, one of the cases where I went more crazy in color combination. Okay, I wanted to test to go with a really pale green. Okay, and of course the pale green have a lot of shades. And then my point is I need something to contrast with this pale green. So we have the gold. Okay, because I want to keep the gold, I want to keep the background or what we have from the Stonecast Eternals. But then I realized that we have clothes, and if I put everything green and also these details, will look too boring. Okay, so this is when I put in the question of colors, the purple. Okay, so but then we end up, we have two bright colors. We can the other option was to do white and keep the white driving, for example, but I thought that this and then playing the white, and the other thing that it was important is that the white have a green shade. So this is melting the white, it's helping to melt the white with the green work, but at the same time it's giving you the contrast, okay? Because the shoulder pad is giving you this extra detail, but it's not popping up too much, okay? And then the difficult part to match sometimes was this blue, so I wanted to add this blue for the linings and for other examples, but I tried to limit a lot how much blue I use. And as well, this green is almost is quite a jade turquoise color, and this blue is there quite on the pastel range, so they are not that different, and this way is not driving too much or catching too much the eye. Okay, so here we have another way. So as I say, and once you have determined that, here for example on the Stormcast, I will never use reds or oranges. They will not match here. You cannot use purples. Purples, I mean pinks. So if I use a pink here, it will completely look crazy. It will look like a harlequin, okay? There are also things that I'm thinking is, what is the background of the miniature? But even the yellow, I use it sometimes, but the yellow is contrasting very well. The yellow is combining well with purple and green, but I use it in a very limited points just to take that, and I go for more browny color. But imagine if you put a pink here, okay? This will not work, or red. The red is too warm. The other thing is that I try to keep my miniatures. There are two ways also to paint, okay? This is a cold miniature for me. The green, the purple, the blue, even the only warm part of the miniature is the gold, but I even add a little bit of greenish shade to make it everything to look quite cold. You can also work like this one, having a contrast, and this have a problem here, so I didn't realize, contrast of warm white versus cold blue. Okay, and here again, the same as I talk, I have a driving color that is the blue, contrasting with the cream color. Okay, we have this very neutral, contrasting with the deep blue. Okay, this is my driving colors, and then I just do some details, and I add red on the details. The red is mainly driving here because the Inquisition, I wanted to go for the red eye. But think that from here I try to limit how much colors I put. And maybe the green was not the right choice here. Maybe I should have used red lenses, because the green is popping up too much, now I'm realizing. So you can see that it's a question of practice, how you melt, how you match the colors. For me, the first thing that you should do is look really paint jobs from other people and see for you what is working now, because there is a lot of taste as well here, and a lot of people will like something more contrasting than others. Just to finalize, if you go for something more realistic like this one, yeah, then you see here I have green browns, but everything is very desaturated. The only thing that is bright is the plasma pistol, and I think it was not the good choice to use blue for this plasma pistol. Here was better to have, if I have used like gold, just to make the coil like if it's a gold, metallic thing, or was better to go for more for maybe a reddish color. The thing that because you see here the orange was working well, but here, yeah, again when I was painting these guys, I wanted to go for something that is very neutral and not popping up. What's happening when you do that? It's difficult to pop up the details. So as you can see, when you go for brighter colors and more contrasting, you can pop up the details without changing colors. Okay, in that case, the details are more difficult to see, although the techniques in the painting techniques are more or less on the same level. If you look as a miniature, as a painting miniatures, this one here on my left and this one, the Berserker, will always pop up more and will catch more the eye than this paint job here. Okay, so yeah, I think this is opposite to this neutral here. For example, what was well done here on this more neutral colors is that I really shade, pop up the details. So it's also important how you do the shading and all the other things. But this is a discussion for another video. But here you have different ways to paint. The only moment that I take as risk, for example, I was testing. This way I like to do testing miniatures. This one is a very neutral ochre with a quite bright purple and orange. Is this orange needed on this miniature? Can be arguable, to be fair, because yeah, but this is the limit, so I cannot go now for color on the clothes. For example, I should keep the clothes pretty neutral on grays. If I purple like the carapas, but yeah, this and in so small miniature, try to avoid to have a lot of color combinations. Try to avoid to have too many colors, because then the miniature will look saturated. Only when you go for really, even when you want to pop up and to make it look like a harlequin, like this one, for example, see that, yeah, I try to avoid reds. Even this one, for example, this one here should have been done less reddish. Okay, but yeah, the yellow here will look very pastel. It will combine well with the yellow on the other. It's a different tone of yellow, but is on the same family. So there is inside of the same family you can play with the different tonalities. You see, I have blues that go from deep blue to quite a bright blue. Even in the pistol you see that you don't need to add more colors, you just need to add contrast. So what is important is, and I fixed the palette of colors. As you can see, I did not add colors. Okay, I did not add paints. I use the same paints when painting this guy than painting this guy. Although here I add more detail and I went more extreme on the color composition. But you can see I try to keep and then the tricky part and the difficult part sometimes when you start painting is what you apply for each color to make it pop up. And the problem is not all the sculpts and not all the miniatures work in the same way. Okay, for example, here is very clear that I want to make, if I want to look at the segmentation of the armor, I want to keep the armor red, keeping the black as a background. Okay, but then you can find other miniatures in the same army that you have to follow the same color that is not working that well. So this is another tricky part that I will talk in another video as well. But yeah, here just summarizing, because I think I ramble a lot and maybe I put too much things in the middle, too much opinions, and it's making it difficult for the people to follow me. So I just want to summarize. First, try to look how official miniatures from Games Workshop are painted, what colors they use, how they paint them. Okay, here we have some examples. Then try to start with something that is not too difficult. Here I go, this was one of the latest I paint. Black and red, always work. Black with something, always work. Well, of course, try not to do black and the purple, because you will not have contrast. So, look, black and a red color is working. Black orange, black red, black yellow, black green, all these colors will work. If you want to go to the next level, all other combinations that always work. Cream color and a darker color. This will always work. And the cream, the advantage is instead of the pure white that you can have shades. For example, bone color red, bone color blue. Bone color green is not working that well, okay? Because it's quite weird. But bone color purple, bone color, so you have like quite a neutral color, and then a bright color. This will work, and this will give you room to have contrast and to add details on metallics like the golds or using silvers. Okay, so always find a way to add that is facilitating the live view to add details. If you go for more complex colors like these guys, so here I wanted to put orange, but then you need something to contrast. Orange, it's very bright. Let's put another color that is quite bright, and it's not. I can deviate my attention from the orange. So the pinkish color on the head. So I have vertical, and then I use the purple to keep the skin, and I go for a deeper purple, a different purple than the head, to be able to put contrast on the miniature. And then the rest, fill it with neutral colors. Okay. Here the same. Green, red, black. Black works well. You see, black with green is working. Black with red is working. I use the black. I try to avoid even if the green is in direct contact, it's working well. So we have this contrast here. The skin will contrast very well against the black and against the green, and against the red. And the red will work well with the black. And then we have silver or metallic iron, that is a neutral color as well. Try then to have a brown that have contrast with the red. Okay. You can also go with brownish colors. This is all neutral colors. And then you add some very small spot brighter, but not going too bright, more on the terracotta, for example, in the case. If you are on yellow, if you want to go to the yellow, don't go to yellow. go to a ochre color. You can add, for example, this one. I will not add here because I have the red, but you can substitute the red by a ochre color, for example. Okay, and you will keep neutral. And then the most difficult one is when you want to do patterns as painting just for harlequins. Okay, like these ones. 3 driving colors, but keep everything is very cold. All the colors are very cold except the yellow. The yellow can be cold in some cases. Here it's quite a cold yellow, can be warmer. But the only warm point I have, the only one color I have is yellow and gold. And yellow and gold are in the same family. Okay, are more or less on the same family. And the rest are blue, pink, purples, all on the cold area that combine very well, but are contrasting, but are matching at the same time. Okay, so these are examples. These are how to do it, and I will say, first, when you start painting, look magazines, look internet, do a Google search, look other examples, and when you find a color, because almost, I will say, most likely the color scheme that you're looking for, someone tried before. So you can go to internet and look for that if you want. And if you don't find it, take a miniature, put the colors, and then think. And then once you have this color combination, decide which 2-3 colors you want for the miniature. And when you start painting, add maximum 2 or 3 colors more for the details, no more. And try to use neutrals for the details. Try to use things that are not too much contrasting. As I say here, I don't use greens, I don't use oranges, because then the miniature will look busy. Okay? Try to and if you try to do a test miniature, because the way to know if your color scheme is working is making a test miniature, because then you will have to face how you do the different details. But as I can see here, even the details, for example, I want to do in blue, okay? Here, we have the gem in blue. It's surrounded by the gold. In that way the gem is popping up. Then we have the black to frame, the black with the deep purple, the white to show the face. I think the white on the face is working very well, but it's not just the focal point. We have the shoulders to try to help to deviate the tension, and we have this thing here as well, here and here, so we can deviate our attention from the face. Okay, and in that case we have also the masks on the stuff. Okay, but always the same. And then, as you can see, when I do the details, here I follow the same colors that we have here, but here I use the same yellow that we have here. So I'm not adding new colors. It's not adding value at the moment. It's not adding value to add more colors to the miniature. And that's all for now. Please let me know what do you think. Yeah, give an opinion. And if you have more questions, don't hesitate to leave it in the comments below, and I will try to help as much as you can. Please, if I did not answer your question, if you're still looking for more details, let me know how I can help you. And that's all for now. Give a like if you have liked this video, and as usual, thanks a lot for watching, and see you again later. Bye.